we on Sunday? Imagine, tulikuja hapa Saturday, now it's already Sunday. That's why I didn't want us to continue. But nandiku mabande bigisi maema. That's so. What do we say? Members of bench, your lordships and learned friends. Shmua Governor Vinya, Governor Mutula, and the Vice President of LSK, Senior Council Brother, so I think he may have gone, Charles Kanjama, and the cousins. We tonight here to have it together to say I can get to our lower. We are part of Mount Kenya South. I think that's what Professor Mulubi should have said. You have Mount Kenya and Mount Kenya South arrangement and then Gema. A lot of work was done by Professor Mulubi and other guys to bring this integration. I wish Professor Kibwana was here so I can assure him mundu wonde olubinyewe nika songo nikasi. Not just a kamba ne kuyu. So I think there was a misrepresentation of some sorts. So when Rigiji said I cousin, people thought it was just talk about Kambas and Kikuyus. No. And I think Professor Mulubi, you know that Mijikendas, Kisis, Bagusi, and even Bukusus and others, and not just Bantus, the whole country. Yule ambaye amevinyiliwa na policy ambayo inahujumu nia na nafsi za Wakenya ni kasi. Kwa hivyo hai kasi. Lakini hawa Mount Kenya wanaelewa na Kikamba, so I will speak in Kikamba. A little bit of it. Kana tiogu? Nondo Mukamba is here. Now it's very important for you lawyers, Mukamanya ndimo. Ndimo maundu maimba ukamba akamba manena na ndimo. Ila inge makwina londo mwali watu tabia. You spread very strong messages. Kwa ndimo. Wangalaga niwe Mukamba waita will have to teach you that Kikamba. Mukamba asiyai. Mukamba asiyai kia. Kumbe mwakamba. Never dhokoni. Imagine what ingu with the iko nawe amabu ma dhokoni. With the maybe to give you some resolutions. Now you mumundu ilamba kwa siyai. Ngendo kwedo na ndo ama andika ama dhango mima na kwa andika indeto. Yaandikika. Yuto na kwa siyai Kalonzo aneni yazi aisi kiadhiki angune madhokoni. Kana kwa no kikuta ndumangelani. A resolution was passed over a long time, which goes to show the unity of purpose of this community. So, as I speak to you, I want to actually acknowledge and really appreciate this amazing investment. I'm here for the first time by the Mwangangis. Nituma kunange makofi. Former speaker and we call Mwangangi Mr. Connections. I don't know whether he's still around. And I can see some of our people work hard. And so we celebrate this, and we really think, when this was ongoing, I used to think this looks like Hilton Hotel in Ukambani. Hilton has since closed down. We need, as Governor Vinya said, investment. That is how you can create wealth and create those important jobs. Kila kingine kwa senemo beano ndo members of LSK, Mount Kenya South, for this wonderful. Is this the third edition or fourth edition? Third edition. Ondo Professor Kibwana wanena. Yeah, we have had great minds from this community in the legal fraternity. The late Chief Justice Kitili Mwendwa, Attorney General Matthews Guy Molly, Of course, our brother, Senior Counsel, Willie Mutonga, and the other bigger names you've forgotten, even from the point of the bench. And no katika masuvia, ina na kikamba, ngweti kalanda tole kwa ziba hapa hiyo ndo ile report kanai mayaji maitume ba monde. President wa Court of Appeal kwanza wa mbai tu Mbua Justice Musinga ando matena wia mautio makwani katikati hivyo ndio aina hivi Mateo kia only respecting God Almighty. Go in a way, we're very proud of you, and we know there are gaps, there are deficits here and there. Because we all know as practitioners that nobody has ever resolved the issue of the backlog in cases. Everywhere, it's not possible, and it's not been possible. Therefore, we need a lot more judges. Mutula Junior, what was your number again? 44. So number 4,500. I was number 1,056. All right. Had I not gone out after Kenyatta died in 78, I went out for postgraduate work in the Mediterranean islands. I would probably have been less than 1,000. So I delayed by 1 year. But be that as it may, kukoma na umondeba betigiliene mo challenge. This country is in a revolutionary mode. Don't be cheated by anybody that Kenya Kwanza Malava. And again, I wish Kibwana was here, so because I would talk to him about Gunism. The Madhikoma Manya was nothing. Just people between themselves, sibling rivalry here and there. Because CS Mutua is one of us, it's not a big issue. But there's a bigger issue that we cannot, in a democratic, in a country that claims to be under the rule of law, in a country that wants to witness democratic elections, have a situation where you just can't breathe. You now have police on the one hand, and I think even the bench will have to help us on this. The police literally assisting goons to do work that the police themselves should be doing. Therefore, this concept of goonism, even those of you interested in elected positions, I don't know how you will manage a classmate in the University of Nairobi when you're doing undergraduate work, and leaving that place was a problem. Just a problem, because they are unemployed Kenyans who see those big cars you're driving and whatever, they jump on top. When you remember one time ulikuwa unaendesha gari yako anaingilia hapo kwa rooftop na anaketi hapo anago mama sema. And it is so because of frustration. I can assure you the Gen Zs are very angry. They came out on the 24th of June last year and made a statement, and they become the example the world over. In Madagascar, they made that president flee. By the way, the president of Madagascar was also the president, was the chairman of SADC countries. So even when now they are going to see Donald Trump, some of them, the president of Angola, the president of the DRC, and then of course Ruto is a current chair of East African Community. That's the only reason he went to State House, to the White House. And if you look carefully, you see President Uhuru Kenyatta sitting behind his White House boss, because he's the man who has been spearheading the peace efforts in Eastern DRC. But when William Ruto started at the hotel Serena Hotel, what we call the River Congo Initiative, and then M23, even though you could see, if you look at President Felix Tshisekedi and Kagame, you see Trump has a lot of work to do. We have tensions everywhere. So the president of Madagascar fled. Seychelles have had one term, inspired by Gen Zs. If you remember, because of inequality in administration of the fee payment scheme, even in Bangladesh, the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, that was the one who followed immediately after the 24th of June last year. She had to flee by helicopter to India because the Kenyan Gen Zs also inspired them. And here, they didn't even participate actively in the recent by-elections because they're still watching, they're studying the situation. And they're wondering what is wrong with their country. So we have a responsibility to deliver this country to the next generation under the rule of law. Now we are practitioners of the law. I think it's about time this country's tried a president who is an advocate or a lawyer or something, because these others cannot, they cannot seem to make headway. This is why Chief Justice Emeritus is also trying to struggle along these lines. He was also my classmate, David Maraga, and because we're always trying to say, what can we do? What can we do? And so, when you meet like this, as members of the bar, the senior and the junior bar, I want to challenge you. You saw us go out and take those pro bono cases. We said we give it to an Indian farm, which is already cited. Andani, the Andani deal is good for us. We went to court and Namwe and others came in strong. Justice reigns. Look at just yesterday, Justice Nyanga, Ga and Chikiti and Mugambi made a very important ruling about party hopping. Because you must also dig in, you must really do something. They actually say because there was a public interest petition regarding the governor of Isiolo, who was elected on a Jubilee ticket, but he went and behaved in a manner that suggested he had already left Jubilee. Now those judges came out with a landmark ruling. So we want to see, because they're saying the will of the voter is sacred. You cannot just use them as vehicles. You use a Wiper Patriotic Front and you get elected as an MCA or a governor or a senator, all those positions, and then you get in there. Or look at us in the case of what happened in Azimio. Some of us signed those, the coalition agreement. Chap, Wiper Patriotic Front. Chap left us immediately. Now what does that tell you? And of course a ruling was even subsequently made by the Court of Appeal that Azimio was a majority party in the National Assembly. Personally, I've been very disappointed, and today I even reminded people like Opiyo Wandayi, who should have taken that position following that ruling and say he's even doing away with that appointment and a broad base or whatever it is. And now that he's now been confirmed, he was a majority leader, he would have dumped that. And you know what that would have meant? Because Raila had lost this election in Addis Ababa for the chairpersonship of AU Commission. I was ready myself to make sure Raila became the president following that ruling. But because of selfish interest, people were confusing our democratic practice, for whatever, people looking at self-interest. What happened? The so-called experts did not want to hear that there's this ruling by the Court of Appeal. Now look at what that does. What does that do to the conscience, the national conscience? Are we serious about democracy? This is what the young people are saying. We don't believe in none of you. We don't believe in any of you. So I want to challenge us, therefore, that the Law Society from this region, I cannot do it myself. I can't do it on my own. I've been there. I've stood for dignity of this community. I've refused to be corrupted by anybody. I've refused. And I have tried to build that name. That's why Waita remembered I was angry with him, because Uhuru alikuwa amemtuma kwangu. Chief of Staff wa Uhuru. Akaja number 1. One time I actually came carrying a lot of money. Not much though. It was less than $1 million. Because we are going... no, he was actually, he meant it well. I had an event in Niata, and he thought he could contribute, have 1 million shillings. I told Waita, keep that money. We might need it some other time. Because this is not the way to go. Yani kuungamane vendi ya mwongo. Nikanazo veenda ya mokamba. Nikyo kutume today, community ina ndaya. Niko kanativo. Never mind. We now don't have those friends, I mean, the founders of this community. Major General Ndolo was the first chief of the army. Then General Jackson Mulinge. And the army, because this is a community of fighters. Kila ndo inge Kenya matesi, mukamba nde wia. Lakini we are not instilling in them. And this is where we must thank our community, our cousins from the mountain. I'm told, in fact, on the 13th, I'm going to attend a graduation of about 1,000 or 13,000 young Kikuyu men and women who have gone through some process of accepting and being told who they are. They appreciate. Lakini Akamba, we don't have that. We don't have that. So we are producing young men and women without that cultural upbringing, I mean, or whatever, anchoring. And so, what am I telling you? Mweka wavinya wanawewa kana andu maina mawia mabuti toe nemeke itata. You shouldn't worry. And some of them, therefore, because if you talk that language, makambia kwa zia hii tuenda kwenda tu kwa serikali. And we have Constitution 2010. If it was not for that document, which some of us worked so hard for, our late brother Mutula Senior, I had to tell Kibaki, the man who can deliver this constitution after my sister Mother Karua resigned, was Mutula. And Mutula worked hard together with all of us. We delivered Constitution 2010. That is a document. That's a document that holds this nation. Those rights, the right to assembly, to picket under Article 37, the Constitution is so strong on human rights. The whole chapter on UN Convention on Human and People's Rights brought together into this country. Under Article 2, I think it is, of the Constitution, we have imported, and we are part, therefore, of the international community. One of us worked hard for that. From this community, I can give you a secret here. Senior Counsel Kyoko Kilukumi. How many of you know him? I wish Kyoko was here. Because I tried to push for him to become the Solicitor General. And Raila then, after this was after 2007, Kibaki had, I think, the other Chief Justice nominee, Vishram. So I told Kibaki, you're giving Vishram Chief Justice, I want Kioko Kilukumi to be the Solicitor General. But after the Kofi Annan talks, then of course Kibaki and everybody, Raila came with oomph. And he said, no, we are not taking those arrangements. That's how William Mutunga became the Chief Justice. Now, I don't think this community should feel deprived. These minds are powerful. If we get our senior counsel, Kioko Kilukumi and others to know where we wanted them to go, Kivuva, you're young, you're chairman of LSK Nairobi branch and other places. There is not an office you cannot occupy in this country. And I can tell you, I don't know where this friend of ours, a composer, Kenwa Maria, it is true, research has been done. And now, all we need to do is to maintain the tempo. All of us. Therefore, you're going to be more active. Sorry, you are going to be more active. Now, I'll give you an example. You see what is happening under the so-called infrastructure bond, wanting to make Kenya Singapore, first world country. And we tell them you can't do that. With the type of reputation as the most corrupt leader in the world, the reigning champion of who is most corrupt president in the world is there. The one was in, I think the Gen Z's world voted for him. And he fled to Russia. What was the name? President of Russia, of Syria. Assad. Assad, the most corrupt. Now number 2 was William Ruto. And he wants to make this country first world country. With that kind of a reputation. Now look at what is happening. 2 days ago, without public participation, and judges, wait for us. We are coming. And I want to challenge the bar. I want to challenge the bar. You will not allow Safaricom to be sold just like that for a song. You won't. So I want to see us ready to go on record to defend this most productive Kenyan company called Safaricom. Just been sold off like that. And you ask yourself, if it is 200 billion, what is the cut for those people doing the deal? Waita used to work for Safaricom. The most productive, the most profitable. How do you just sell it off? All right? And William Ruto says he's going to build so many dams. And I keep on reminding him, the High Grand Falls Dam is a Vision 2030 project. I think it's important for you as lawyers to know. I wish Wilfred Nyamo Mati is a member. He's from here. Wilfred Nyamo is from my village, actually. He has taken this matter very seriously because he's been acting for that consortium. Of the UK. William Ruto meets the national grid. You open the area for irrigation for as far as Tana River and Garissa, and therefore you stem the flooding. Thinks this project is in your region, you must be starved of development. And this wants to make Kenya Singapore. Then we're keeping the criminal division very busy there. Young people wameiba hii na hii, wameiba baiskeli. When I was coming here, my driver said, he was on Uhuru Highway, akaona mtu anagonga kioo imeenda. And I must conclude. It's a revolutionary one. And so, let us start by going to court this week. Say a matter like that. Don't leave it to sorry, and a few others. The moment you go and you have 100 advocates on record, that makes a statement. How many of this is all the Americans are themselves saying, no, in the security sector, but not to use our support to terrorize Kenyans. So the whole world is looking at this country. And therefore, we have to be the change, as Barack Obama would say, the change we want to be. So I'm here to encourage you today to come out. Rigiji was the other day comparing the supporters of our late friend Raila Odinga. You see Jim Orengo, Senior Counsel, you see Otiendo Molo. When it comes to talking, the people talk. There's even a lady called Millie Odhiambo. Millie says she's a bad girl because she's fighting for a cause, fighting a cause. I think the problem with us is we are too genteel. Can we be a little rough and come out there and talk? And so I must talk, and I really encourage you and congratulate you. Thank you so much, and please, even as you stress, because this is amazing, because we are not here wearing wigs and things, those wigs, boring stuff, right? To terrorize magistrates, and you go there and judges say you're most learned. This is you, this is who you are. But I have a problem na ikalesi ya kaniki nondo na ilesi ya kuna mukanda na kuna mukanda wa kwata mazatani yangi. So let us think through these things. Let's think through these things. So I really want to thank you. It's been a long day, but I'm not leaving here until I hear my mom. And Professor Muluvi and the team, thank you for the work you've done. Thank you so much. For once, I can tell you, our people, the research that was recently done, I can tell you this, because somebody was briefing me, it's not even for publishing. The kind of support this community has and wanting to go for the presidency is at 86%. As of yesterday. It's the highest ever. The highest ever. And then this is coming up all over. It's coming up from Mount Kenya region. It's coming up. Matiang'i is trying a little bit. It's coming up. And so, all right? And in Luo Nyanza, this is why you see me going there and reminding them. I can tell you, the Luos are listening to us. And they are ready. And you know them, they believe in justice. There's a community that believes in democracy and justice. And I reminded them today, is Luo Nyanza. But let us have some of you now hitting those headlines. Headlines. Of course, we have a sister here, just because she's a CEO of administrative. What is the commission again? It's actually the ombudsman, right? Yeah. Akionekana anajaribu, she was a CEO of LSK, anaangeliwa because wanasema hana godfather. I think that is a terrible thing we must fight in this country. So Maria Beneka, thank you. I've seen you stand very strongly with your sister here, and stand strongly. So if one of us is also affected, and we know that looking at everything, putting everything on the balance, wanaonewa tunatoka zote. So this is it. Let me see how many of you are going now to go out there. Now we can demonstrate freely. I'm the champion of demonstrations, but I'm not a mad person. And again, look at what is happening to university education. William Ruto has messed up our education system. Now, I told my friend, Mrs. Mwangangi, I told Mwangangi, because our daughter Mashi Mwangangi is the CEO of SHA, I'm a little shy. But this SHA thing is not working. And I have a feeling they are doing things behind Mashi. They are not telling her. This thing is being run by Kina Duale and other people. Mess up. You have had the education and the health sector. All our hospitals are not functioning. It's a fact. Hakuna. So, I don't even see William Ruto, by the way, as we speak. I'm so much ahead of him in opinion polls. So much ahead of him. This is why they say, oh, sijui 50+1, hatutafika huko. And once we're going to work very hard to make sure the opposition remains united. And if we do, it will be absolutely one term for William Ruto in round one. One term. One term. One term. One term. Asanteni, God bless you.
All right. Kidogo DJ. The six, please, just come here. His Excellency, the Governor of Makueni, come. Governor of Machakos, come. Mr. Fixit, come. Nimesikia kuna mheshimiwa anaitwa Kavudha huko chini, mkuje. I need the cake set up here. And meanwhile, we set up the cake and we also set up the band for Maima. So that the six opens for us the floor for Mwale. And then Honorable Justice Telesia Madeka uga totile keki. Na ende nundu wa usuvi ambaye Telesia Wabinya Nicholas, next Vice President uga. Maora Kabata njo nundu wa usuvi ambaye ende mashimo na ageno uga wambo ninde tu kuambia nundu wa machao mashimo mashimo ambo tukunia kamwetu eti la keki ena the six na governors. Kwa hiyo tueti la keki na the six na the governors around na ende tueti la keki ende mashimo. DJ nipatie hiyo ya mashimo tuende nesano wa tueti la keki. Yes.
Awandamenga, Akiakibungo, Awandamenga, Twende Onesa, Aulia Metane, Musukibungo, Aliwe Shambiki, Twende Onesa, Aulia Metane, Musukibungo, Aliwe Shambiki, Twende Onesa, Wambani Wambe, Ubika Nairobi, Wasamanasie, Twende Onesa, Wambani Wambe, Ubika Nairobi, Wasamanasie, Twende Onesa, Mbakalambo, Shabiki Siakwa, Wanasinaise, Twende Onesa, Mbakalambo, Shabiki Siakwa, Wanasinaise, Twende Onesa. Yes.
Alright. Ndio tuna haya mashimo nondwa haya sasa the 6 karibia hapa your excellencies the governors honorable justice Telesia Oka and Dr. Monyivia Kivuva ako wapi? Alright, very well, lovely. Sasa the 6 chukua kisu inakaa kama panga, alafu usaidiwe na hawa imbogi yote tukate keki. Sawa sawa? Haya, wapi makofi ya keki, makofi ya keki. Nataka mnisaidie kidogo dakika moja, msiniulize swali, alafu tukimaliza tawaambia hii kitu tunafanya ni ya nani. Sawa? Sawa? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday dear Junior. Happy birthday to you. It's actually Junior's birthday. Yes.
birthday Bazu, ukaitupige sherehe. Happy birthday Bazu, happy birthday. Happy birthday Bazu, happy birthday. Nenda tushereke menu ende gomoka. Nenda tushereke menu ende gomoka.